Animals is my favorite Pink Floyd album. My first listen was when I was 15, but I just didn't get it. I thought it sounded nice, but I just wasn't even musically educated enough to understand that. This album has influenced me as well as many others. The album's main idea is that there are three kinds of people: dogs, sheep, and pigs. Dogs are greedy and not to be trusted. Sheep are mindless and uncaring, and pigs are manipulative and conniving. But is Animals original? Did Roger Waters create a completely unique album? Absolutely not. But what was it influenced by? It all started with George Orwell's Animal Farm. In this anti-authoritarian book, the pigs manipulate the rest of the farm animals into doing their dirty work. The pigs are the supreme overlords of the farm, gorging themselves and doing whatever they like while destroying others around them for their own gain. This is exactly how the album portrays pigs. However, Animals takes it one step further by pointing out the pigs of society in the song, Pigs, Three Different Ones. One person who's directly name-dropped in the song as being a pig is Mary Whitehouse, a British political activist who pushed her conservative values onto anything she could, regardless of if it fit. The other two pigs aren't directly named. However, one of them is speculated to be Margaret Thatcher. Over time, Roger Waters has targeted different politicians when performing Pigs, Three Different Ones, such as the actual White House in Washington, D.C. Pigs, Three Different Ones is the most politically charged song on the record. The song points to politicians and world leaders and the lies they tell to get to the positions they're in with the lyrics, and when your hand is on your heart, you're nearly a good laugh, almost a joker. And you're nearly a laugh, but you're really a cry. The lyrics to the song are angry and explosive, not just meant to expose the pigs of 1977, but the pigs of the past and future. The pigs want to try to, quote, keep our feelings off the street by controlling what people see and feel, whether that's Mary Whitehouse attacking Doctor Who saying it is, quote, tea time brutality for tots, or the censoring of Pearl Jam's video for Jeremy. The attempts to keep our feelings off the street are very reminiscent of the censorship of the war in Vietnam. A professor named Daniel C. Hallen reviewed tons of media involving Vietnam and wrote a book on his finding. He wrote on page 129 of The Uncensored War, the Media in the Vietnam, quote, only 22% of all film reports from Southeast Asia in the period before the Tet Offensive showed actual combat, a few incoming mortar rounds, or a crackle of sniper fire. Clearly the horrors of the Vietnam War were not shown to the American people. Such suppression of information is exactly what the pigs need to keep their war going. Not only does this show that pigs are trying to suppress people from feeling, but this also furthers the point of pigs being manipulative and only caring about themselves. Dogs and Sheep are two songs, accounting for 65% of Animals. They were left over from Wish You Were Here, the band's previous work, and as a result sound quite like it. Sheep, formerly known as Raving and Drooling, paints the everyday person as a follower, someone who does not think for themselves, someone who just agrees with what everyone else says. This idea presented in Sheep is exactly how George Orwell painted sheep in Animal Farm. In Animal Farm, the sheep are a nameless, personality-less mass of animals who are constantly manipulated by the pigs. Towards the end of the book, Squealer, a pig, teaches the sheep to adopt the mantra 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. The sheep do not question this and immediately chant it. This is very similar to how Roger Waters saw the everyday person, and ties back to a point he made earlier, saying that the pigs are the ones on top. Towards the end of Sheep, the sheep rise up against the dogs and kill them. Now that there are no dogs to worry about, the sheep become the new dogs. This is reminiscent of Animal Farm. When the animals suddenly rise up against Mr. Jones, they think the elimination of an enemy will make life easier, when in reality it just makes them the enemy of each other. Dogs, formerly known as You've Got to Be Crazy, is a song aimed at the world of business. In Dogs, Waters writes about the life of a businessman who climbed to the top. Dogs are those who appear charming and trustworthy, someone with, quote, a club tie and a firm handshake, a certain look in the eye and an easy smile. However, underneath this superficial kind persona lies an individual who's backstabbing and greedy, someone who will do whatever he needs to climb to the top, to, quote, pick out the easy meat, and someone willing to, quote, be trusted by the people that you lie to, so that when they turn their backs on you, you'll get the chance to put the knife in. But there's more than just the lyrics that have been influenced. Because two of the songs were throwaways, the tone of the album sounds very similar to the band's previous one, Wish You Were Here. Even deeper than this, Gilmour's guitar playing sounds like it was influenced by the playing of Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page. This is likely because the band has a very large background in playing blues music before their first record, and even a little bit after with songs like Seamus. Pink Floyd's influence as a band cannot be understated. Bands who have cited Pink Floyd as an influence are Queen, Smashing Pumpkins, U2, and many more. Probably the easiest band to point to as being influenced by Pink Floyd, Animals in particular, is Radiohead. It's plain to see that Radiohead was influenced by Pink Floyd, as they sound similar and touch on similar subject matter. OK Computer is the easiest of the band's albums to draw comparisons to. They're both very eco-critical, cynical, and dystopian albums, the difference being instead of punching up at those on top, OK Computer sends a warning to the average person. More people that were influenced by the album are me and many of the people I talk to about it. When people talk about this album, they immediately adopt a cynical view of life, regardless of whether they're normally cynics. Animals has an effect on people, immediately changing their attitudes. The album has helped open people's eyes to the idea of sheep, dogs, and pigs, and asks a question of, which one are you going to be? For me, I don't know, and I'd rather not put myself in a box and limit myself, which I suppose is a long way of saying sheep. Animals, along with Animal Farm, has popularized the term sheep in everyday conversation. While nothing is wrong with its original meaning, it's been twisted by influencers and people in power to name-call people they disagree with. In turn, the actual sheep listen to those people in power and repeat it. Whether it's the left are sheep or the right are sheep, the meaning of sheep is becoming less of those who blindly follow, and more of people I think are dumb. It's a sad irony to see the sheep call each other sheep. Once again, the sheep have become the enemies of each other. This album is the first of many to be written nearly entirely by Waters. During this time, Waters had a totalitarian grip on the band, for better or for worse. This album sounds like Roger Waters. This album has clearly influenced Waters to make more politically charged art, in addition to leave the band to work solo 8 years after Animals was released. To answer the question I posed previously, did Roger Waters create a completely unique album? No, he didn't. Animals draws inspiration from everyday life and George Orwell's Animal Farm. Professor John Erskine writes in his book The Literary Discipline, "Is it the business of art to discover new ideas, or indeed to busy itself much with any ideas, as separated from emotion and the other elements of complete experiences? Is it the originality of genius in art to say something no one has ever thought before, or to say something we all recognize as important and true? As for the mere question of priority, even stupid things have been said for a first time. Do we wear a laurel for being the first to say them? I think Animals does a great job of saying something we all recognize as important and true."